Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the past 3 years, I've been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions. It's just one scoop mixed in water once a day, every day, and it makes me feel focused and ready to take on every day. That's because each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. Healthy aging doesn't need to be complicated. It certainly shouldn't feel complicated. That's why sometimes when you're taking all sorts of mixes of pills, potions, powders, supplements, whatever, it can become exhausting. But just one scoop of AG1 every single day covers all my nutritional bases. It helps support my mental and physical health, which are so important to me, and I don't need the hassle that can be part of the mental health issues. So in just 60 seconds every morning, I know I'm giving my body exactly what it needs and setting up my sustainable habits for the long run. If there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1. That's why they've been a partner of the Buy Round for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/buyround. That's drinkag1.com/buyround. Check it out. Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of Midweek Matters. We are fresh off the plane. Well, I am. Charlie, you?
I landed about 2 hours ago, so kind of fresh off the plane. I am rooted.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired as well. I basically slept for 12 hours.
Yeah, it must be nice. That's where if you're in business class, I was in economy, and we had a lot of turbulence. Did you have turbulence come back?
Not that I was aware of.
Yeah, okay. It was rough. I thought I was going to die. I was desperate to get home, and then the plane kept going up and down, up and down. David Riccio was a couple seats near me. He looked scared as well. And then it was chaos once we got to Sydney Airport.
Yeah.
But we're here now.
Just as well, I just think it's important for our viewers to know you're saying, obviously, you're not feeling too fresh, but you should be. Because you just elected, you decided off your own bat not to go out on the last night in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but that is because, number one, I didn't finish work until 2 a.m. Work for Triple M.
Well, I finished at 12.
12, yeah, so 2 hours better. Number two, I had to drive back to Los Angeles to fly back to America.
No,
so
let's do some fact checking here.
Yeah.
You had to drive back. No, you were in the vehicle.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between being a passenger driving and actually driving. So let's get that crystal clear.
Well, passenger driving, I'm also a team player, so I wouldn't want to be sleeping and just make some other bloke who was tired drive the whole way. I'm happy to be there, a bit of energy, talk to them. You know, we're all in this together type thing. So that's number two. I had to leave at, I think, 8 a.m. I was up to go leave. So if I went out, I was going to have to stay out all night and then leave. And then all the nights before that, I'd been out till about 5 in the morning every single night. So I was a bit tired. And then the other one is I was flying economy, you were flying business class at 11 o'clock in Las Vegas. So you had nothing to do the next day until 11 p.m., whereas I was leaving at 8 a.m.
Do you realise how hard it is when you get kicked out your hotel room at 1 o'clock to fill basically like 7 hours in Las Vegas?
What did you do?
Just potted around.
Did you?
Mate,
did you have a beer or anything like that, or just cruise?
Just cruised around, really.
Yeah.
I did stop and get some Mexican food. And had a beer with that. But
speaking of food in Vegas, fuck, it's terrible. That's one thing to go. We've talked up Vegas a lot. We're back home now.
The food was terrible.
Food was shit. We had one good steak that one night, and the rest of it was like just deep fried garbage. Everywhere you went, it was just low quality. And also, in these casinos, they fucking don't miss when charging for things. It was like $8 for a bottle of water. $8 it is. That's like $12 here. You get a slice of pizza. I was paying $20 on a slice of pizza.
Yeah, there are some expensive places there. Yeah, they don't miss. If you want the trick with water, belly up at a sports bar. Say, oh yeah, I'll just grab a Diet Coke. Or just get me a water. I'm going to have a look at the menu.
Yeah.
Order a little bit of food, and then they just keep topping you up.
Yeah.
Free water.
Is the tap water okay in Vegas? For some reason, I didn't trust the tap water in Vegas.
just got to let that go.
Yeah,
Charlie.
yeah. Anyway, water's not that important or interesting.
But so you're slagging the food off. I had some decent food. Mexican place I was at was really good. Fresh guac made to order. If you'd have been tracking me on that last day and seen my movements, like my head was falling off. But if you'd have tracked it, you'd have been like, it was a suspicious pattern. Like I was walking back on myself. I didn't know where I was going.
Yeah, and
the malls and the casinos there are designed to keep people in. Also, the hotel lobbies, there's barely any seats because they don't want you sitting down at the lobby. They want you to sit down at a table or at a machine. It's like, it's all designed. It's funny how your environment shapes you. And I even think about, you set up your kitchen cupboards and all that and what you buy in, and to affect your own decisions at home. But the casinos, they are masters at making you part with your...
Finding an exit as well is very hard. And I actually didn't end up gambling that much.
No, I mean, well, it's
not that novelty for us, is it? Because you got to get casinos.
That is the big thing for a lot of people in the States, is like they can't gamble in what I think 50 of the 52 or 51 states. I think, well, basically there's 2 states that you're allowed to gamble. So they love it. They just sit at a table all day. And
it was a massive success, the event.
It was huge
massive success. I think the interesting thing is, though, I don't think the success is about capturing the American audience. I think the success is the amount of buzz that's been built for the event and the amount of fans that came over. And it wasn't just Australian fans, it was English fans as well, who flying to Australia is a very long way to come for a game at NRL. Whereas if they're flying to Las Vegas, maybe a 10-hour flight from England. And so there was a lot of English people. 2 games, exactly right. So I actually think next year will be a sellout. I think that many people will travel in from Australia, from New Zealand, from England, and it's not necessarily going to be about that local audience picking it up. So I don't know if that then makes it not worth the while for the NRL financially, because they put a lot of money into it. But it's a huge success with the amount of buzz it's caused in Australia.
Yeah, it is. And everybody I've spoken to back here saying like, wow, that season launch looked amazing. Like the real buzz, the fear of missing out, need to be there next year. I don't know. I think that they do need to look to capture some of that American sporting market. And again, I spoke about the female college lacrosse I ended up just watching because it was in the sports bar, that steak restaurant you mentioned. 4 televisions in a steak restaurant with 4 different sports on. The Mexican place I was in, there was like a tag tournament, like a one-on-one, like extreme tag.
Like tag you're in.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they had, I didn't understand what they were trying to do, but I knew they were trying to avoid each other. It's coming up like parkour, tag, extreme world championships of tag. And you're just watching it.
Yeah.
And I imagine, you can probably gamble on it as well. So I think there is really what the NRL need to continue to push for, and ahead, Peter V'landys speak to this, is having that 1 game a week on every single Saturday evening to, gain some traction, and then hopefully gain some of the gambling revenue that naturally comes.
Is that confirmed now as well?
I don't think it's been confirmed.
But it looks very likely, doesn't it? Because Lachlan Murdoch, obviously one of the really powerful people at News Corp in America, Fox Sports, he was at the game and he's a massive rugby league fan. I think he's maybe pushing for that as well over there.
Well, and that's how sports changing. Even think about here in Australia, like it used to be our local sports, but now look how popular the NFL is here. Look how popular the NBA is. I think back home when in England, like we didn't get much sports growing up. Rugby league didn't get a lot of attention, but now there's so female sports absolutely booming. Look at what the NFL do in terms of bringing games to other countries. There's talk of them putting a franchise in London. They take games to Brazil, where it's one of the most popular sports in Brazil. So I think the NRL moving into new markets, that there is a reason behind why they're going to do this. And I think that's fundamentally what it's going to be. Get a game on each and every week and And sport's got to change and go global and go big.
I liked your idea that you spoke about with Wade Graham about having a couple of games in America, a couple of games, in other parts of the world. But another idea from one of our listeners, Jamie Simpson, he sent in was, could you have the World Club Challenge over in Las Vegas the same weekend as you have those first couple NRL games?
Yeah, I think there's certainly an appetite for that. And I think that's one of those things that's being muted in terms of bringing the World Club Challenge on top of a couple of games there in Las Vegas as well. The only thing, it wouldn't give whoever wins the Premiership enough time to prepare their fans to go. So if we announce the 4 teams that are going, and then if one of those 4 teams wins, then the other team, so another team would be replaced, or you don't. So there's an argument, does it give the fans long enough to prepare? You'd know in October.
Yeah, and you kind of want to know early because it is expensive there, especially if you're booking stuff last minute.
Yeah. But I think in terms of putting the sense of the occasion, again, the Americans would love that. The England v Australia rival, we're playing for, you're playing for a trophy. We're bringing that, and that, again, may capture more eyeballs and imagination that, the world champs, and the Americans love the world championship status. Baseball's played in other countries, but whoever takes out that World Series.
Same with NBA champs as well, the World Series. But also the other thing, MG on Triple M has called for, basically by year 5, he thinks every single opening game of the year will be there, and it'll be like a magic round in Las Vegas to kick off
the season.
Yeah.
I guess the only problem with that is that the players would need a break.
So you'd have the season off, then probably have a week off, and then go again.
Yeah. So, counter, I don't know. It's a good idea. Maybe get those people that play the first week or the first day, get them back here. And I don't know. It's a possibility. I think it's doable. Everybody's got their thinking hats on, how we can capitalise this, how we can maximise our opportunity in the States. I was even reading about a potential franchise team, not too dissimilar to what we've spoken about with Papua New Guinea, but a Vegas franchise team. Like, wow, how good would that be? That would play, I think they said 6 games, 6 home games in Las Vegas. They would be based out of Sydney. Whether or not that's got legs or not, I
don't think that would work, to be honest. I think it's too hard doing something like that where you only get 6 games there. What sort of crowds are you going to get?
Well, I guess
because it's a special big event. I think you've got the big crowd. I think for that sort of those regular round games is going to be hard. Yeah,
no, of course. But if you just put it completely in the too hard basket, we're screwed. I think the way our game has showcased itself, I think what happens is other cities and other governments that look and go, well, I speak about this in the Saudi Arabia market and how they're trying to change the perception of Saudi oil money, and people may call it sports washing, but they're trying to change their reputation through sports. So they bid for title fights in heavyweight boxing and in all divisions of boxing. They bid for Formula One. The amount of money that they put into their soccer league is astronomical. They look at the Australian tourism market. Where do we go? Where do we go? Sorry, that's so bad. Where do Aussies go?
You're an Aussie now.
No.
You are?
Bali, Thailand, permanent resident, Charlie.
Okay. Will you ever be a citizen?
Probably not.
Okay.
But if you look at the tourism market, Saudi Arabia trying to change their image with sports and tourism, perhaps they go, well, let's speak to the NRL. We'll pay you to come here. We promote it, look at the flow-on effect that people have gone to Vegas. People go from Sydney to Saudi, and then it changes that image of what people have got in their heads around Saudi, and perhaps it becomes a tourist destination for Australians in the future. Yeah,
and those sorts of things could work really well. I'm just not very confident that rugby league will actually crack the American market, given the competition. You were speaking about those sports bars. There's 4 channels and there's 4 live sports all on. Like there's just so much sport. College sport, soccer over there, baseball, NFL, even rugby union's trying to have a crack over there at the moment. I just think it's going to be really hard to make a real monumental difference. And this figure 1% keeps coming out. Oh, if we get 1% of the American market, that's 3.5 million new things. Geez, it's hard to get 1% of Americans to be watching rugby league. That is a really, really ambitious target. And it sounds simple, 1%, but that is not something that would be easily achieved. That would take decades and decades and decades to get there.
Well, I think this is the positive thing of it is we've got a 5-year plan to do it. Like we've committed to going back for 5 years. This is not going to be an overnight success with that goal in mind of attracting American fans to our sport. It's not going to be overnight. We need to work hard at doing it and being an actual physical presence there every single year. I think is a step in the right direction. But again, fundamentally, we've got to get that at least one game a week on live.
One of the things that we're talking about in the media sort of area after the game was Peter V'landys's resume and how he's all the accomplishments he's managed to achieve as commissioner since he's come in. Which one is bigger, COVID or this?
I think this. I think this. I guess you look at where we were at and the game being potentially bankrupt and some of the decisions that had to be made there and then, but I don't think the game was ever going to die. Like, yeah, we were going to be short, and if we went into real financial troubles, the game may not look like it does now. But I think a lot of people suffered during COVID, and sports clubs and governing bodies were no exception to that, and it rocked a lot of people. A lot of people endured a lot of stress during those COVID years. But I think this is, again, like being there, Charlie, when it first got muted last year. Like, people go, oh, you doubted us. It's like, well, of course we did. Yeah. And we should have doubted you.
Yeah.
Because that's the natural reaction, right? Oh, we're going to play a game in Las Vegas. It's like, we're going to, not just a game, we're going to do the season launch doubleheader. Your natural reaction, and rightly so, should be, it's not going to happen. Or America's been spoken about before. They played an Origin game there. They played a test game there a couple of years ago, England versus New Zealand. Yeah, it was a flash in the pan. So, of course, most people doubted it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that, for me, it was the season launch where I looked around and I was looking at the people. It was like watching people's reaction to seeing all the players up on the stage. It was phenomenal. And to pull this off and the logistical challenges, I think this is it should be top of the resume or top of the list of achievements.
Yeah, of the legacy.
Of the legacy, as opposed to, quote unquote, saving the game.
Yeah.
During those COVID years.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people who weren't there, they're going to have a lot of FOMO and they're going to be going this year. But one thing that did sort of put a dampener on the whole event was the Spencer Leniu incident with Ezra Mann, where he's allegedly called him a monkey. Now, he's been referred straight to the judiciary, Spencer Leniu, and it's a very sensitive topic. So it's a really hard one to talk about.
It is, Charlie. Like, look, for us or for me as, a white person to have to discuss this, it does make me feel uneasy.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know if I'll ever able to fully understand what it's like to be on the receiving end of something like that or be involved in something like that. And obviously this is an allegation at the moment. But yeah, look, it is difficult for us to speak about. He's been referred straight to the judiciary.
Yep.
And again, it's difficult for some people to understand in terms of, like, it's a man of colour allegedly using a racial term against another man of colour. So it's difficult for us to understand. But I
that's
think
what a lot of people online have been saying as well. One of my friends who is Indigenous explained to me, it's a monkey is an insult that is more targeted at Indigenous people rather than Polynesian people. So that's the difference, where it's an insult that is targeted at Indigenous people. And Ezra Mann's really hurt by it. He was in tears in the dressing shed afters. But it's also not just stayed there. It's gone back to the hotel where the Roosters and the Broncos were staying on the same level. And Spencer Leniu has then gone over and basically called them out on not leaving on the field.
Yeah, I don't know if it can have the attitude of this stays on the field, because then it's an open slather.
Yep.
And we don't want that at all. And look, I think the only thing I can say is there is no room for not racism just on the field, but in society in general. So
yeah, it's 2024. You can't be doing stuff like this. And it was on the field. I was down on the sideline with Brent Reid when he interviewed Spencer Leniu, and also when Spencer Leniu was coming off the field with about 5 minutes to go. Spencer Leniu didn't seem like a man who had said the wrong thing, was worried, or he was yahooing and hollering at the crowd and, really up and about, pumped to get the win. And then when Brent Reid interviewed him, he said it was all fun and games, and he might not have understood exactly what had happened himself at that point. In the heat of the moment, he might have been referring more to the altercation on the field, rather than anything else. But it was a strange sort of reaction as well. He didn't seem to show remorse or feel like he'd crossed the line or anything like that.
Well, this has the potential to be spoken about for a lot longer, and be a story that we'll be talking about in coming weeks, because the NRL are looking for the evidence, and they're going to need evidence. But I think what you could, again, you speak about Spencer Leniu acting normal, but obviously clearly Ezra Mann, visibly upset.
Yeah.
And then as well, the fact that a Roosters player, who we don't know who it is, we do know, but it can't be named for legal reasons, has gone and apologised.
Yeah.
I believe on behalf of the football club.
Yeah, or you felt that he needed to do that himself. I don't think that is completely clear. I was speaking to a couple of journos on the flight back over here, and just in the sort of lobby area of the hotel, the gate area, and they're talking that there's chat that it could be between 8 to 12 weeks of suspension.
Yeah,
which is it's going to be a big suspense, going to be a big loss for the Roosters as well, because to look at it from a football side of things for just a brief second, I know it's tough in this situation, but he was unbelievable in his Roosters debut on the field. He was that real enforcer. He hopped into that Jared Rea-Hargraves role brilliantly.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, from a football consequence perspective, this has got the potential, if found guilty, to really rock the Roosters. After it was a magnificent start from them. I said after the game, contrast Roosters last year, one of the Premiership favourites, kicked the season off against the Dolphins. We thought the Dolphins would be good for 20 minutes, the emotion of the occasion, and then the class of the Roosters would shine through, but it didn't work out that way, and the Roosters had a really difficult start to season 2023. They were arguably the most informed team outside of Penrith Broncos coming into this season, in terms of the amount of victories they got at the back end of last season. They don't normally start that well. Huge win against one of the Premiership heavyweights in the Brisbane Broncos, but this now, I wonder if it's got the potential to really derail the start of the season. It's going to be difficult in that dressing room.
Yeah, it's not something they need. It's not something the Broncos need as well. It's rocked Ezra Mann a lot, and you feel like it's gonna, obviously that's not something that you just wash your hands with and move on from. He's gonna have to deal with that. He's gonna have to be part of that judiciary process, I imagine, or he's at least gonna be asked to be part of that judiciary process. Other players from the Broncos are probably gonna need to be a part of all that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's probably not much more we can say on that. Just hope Ezra's okay. I hope everyone involved is okay, and just sort of move forward. But focusing on the football then, that did happen. There was some cracks in the Broncos, I thought, in that first game. They didn't look as fluid as they did last year. And I think they really missed someone like Tom Flegler. Yeah. Big time.
Yeah, it's, watching them last year, and I think Payne Haas is the best front rower in the game, and he still is. But what Tommy Flegler did for that team, it's probably, it doesn't generate the the highlight reel moments of a Payne Haas or a Patrick Carrigan, but I thought he was really missed. I think also I couldn't figure out what had happened because I missed the start of that game, but as soon as I got down to pitch side, Patrick Carrigan was on an edge. So again, pardon, I've not been able to catch up and find out what's happened there, but Carrigan moved to the edge. I think
after the Piakura HIA.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can afford to do that again because, again, Haas missing his partner in crime in Flegler, but then also missing Carrigan. So that will help if Carrigan can play in the middle for 70, 80 minutes like he usually does. That will certainly help as well. But the Broncos have obviously got big shoes to fill with the number of recruits that have moved on, but they'll take a bit of time to. Well, I don't know. Look, they'll be really disappointed, and then they come up against South Sydney not for round 2.
Yeah.
So both of those heavyweights.
Then they got Penrith round 3, Cowboys round 4, Storm round 5, and then the Dolphins in round 6. So they're opening 5 games. They're tough. I mean, don't want to get too dramatic. They could be 0-5. They could be also 4-1. You don't know. But it is a tough start to the season for them. Yeah,
it is, and a lot of pressure, and not just physically, but like the mental angst of losing last year with that start of the season, But the Roosters did look really good, and they really flexed their premiership credentials.
I thought that was the best Victor Radley's looked in several years. He looked back to his absolute best. He was just smashing everyone that he tackled. He was moving the ball well as well. I just thought he looked really good. Yeah,
and they've still got a couple to come back as well. Obviously, Jared and Dominic Young. So Billy Smith.
Billy Smith didn't play, yeah. They got some depth.
They've lots of Johnny.
Even Connor Watson wasn't in the side. Angus Crichton wasn't in the side.
Yeah, that's right. Lots of. Do you understand?
Lots of Johnny.
Yeah,
I've not heard that before.
Johnny Depth. I'm here all week.
Very good, mate.
One of the things from that game, again, that I completely missed. So I was down on pitch side. Sam Walker nails the field goal. I go inside to get a beer, thinking half time's done and dusted. Going at half time, 9-4, getting a beer, and then I look out, see Adam Reynolds having a shot at a field goal. I'm like, okay. And then I looked at the scoreboard, like, did Sam Walker miss? And then I've watched it back and obviously got told it went to the screen. I don't know. So there was no captain's challenge.
Yeah.
It just, and look, people, I used to be in the camp of, we need to get as many decisions right as possible. But if we're going to check every single field goal, like how much of the emotion of the occasion and the emotion of the moment is going to be robbed from the players, the fans, the clubs?
Yeah.
Because let's take that situation, but change the scoreboard and the time of game. If that's 10-all, 79 minutes, and 50 seconds, and and Walker has that shot of field goal, and that gets taken off. Yes, it's the new interpretation, and you'd hope that the referees are going to be consistent, but I don't know if I don't know.
No, I understand what you're saying.
The blockers are there, but get round them.
But also the marker was the marker square. If you look back at it, was he square?
Has he gone early?
So he might have gone early.
Well, how many times do we see a field goal charged down and the players are completely offside?
Yeah.
But the referees don't blow a penalty.
Yeah. But they're going to review every single field goal this year.
Every single field goal that goes over.
Yeah, of course.
They're not going to review every single attempt. So you almost now, well, hang on, if we're obsessed with getting every decision right, then if you're offside, and the referee blows a penalty in front of the sticks, so you don't get to win the game. You just kick it. It's going to be easier. So I don't know if that was something we perhaps should have just left alone as a game, but that's the first one that's happened on a field goal going into halftime because the Roosters would extend their lead from 4 to 5. But when these things start to happen at the end of games, to win the game, to close the game out, expect to see more uproar than what we saw in terms of what happened in that game, because it's going to cause all sorts. If you're a fan on the receiving end of a field goal being chalked off because of that, I don't know. And there's sometimes people go, oh, middles, just get out the way. You've got nowhere to go. Because think about where the halfback stands. It's normally a lot deeper. You can't go and stand behind him.
No, they're almost going to have to run out of the way. They are going to have to sort of race out,
run out of the way. Like,
yeah.
What are you supposed to do there?
Yeah.
You're behind the play. You technically can receive the ball. Like, if you look at how, so Victor Radley and Lindsay Collins would go to the line together. So they line up in not too dissimilar positions. You know, I know they're not going to get the ball, but technically they could get the ball.
Yeah.
So I just don't know where they're supposed to go. It's a tricky one, but we're going to be, look, any tight game, the whole field goal situation, I'd hate to see one of those field goals like a Sam Walker go over, everybody celebrate, and then it's taken off.
Well, we probably move on from Las Vegas now, because
I think
everyone's a bit Vegas, and we were there, so we loved it. Like, and everyone who was there loved it. I think everyone back home as well who wasn't there appreciates how special it was, and had a bit of FOMO, I think. But just quickly on the Bulldogs, Blake Wilson and Josh Adokar are going to be on the wing for your first round one game, and you've got in the centres Stephen Crichton and Jacob Keras. So we spoke the other day about, is it going to be Cherry or Tracy? I think Tracy's still out for a couple more weeks, but it's neither of them.
Yeah, wow. It's a big call. I think that was arguably the long-term plan, and Bronson Cherry, who was great in both trials for the Bulldogs. I think, it's probably the understanding that he needs a little bit more live action on the field at that level. In terms like trials and then New South Wales Cup, and get that match fitness. So, it's interesting though. Well done you, Charlie, getting all your homework done.
Yeah. Although I did, in that same topic, I said, oh yeah, Josh Curran's not a good ball player. Oh. And then what did he do? Got his second try assist of his career with a perfect pass.
Thank you, Charlie. And you messaged me. I was in commentary and obviously not supposed to be on my phone. Well, I don't, because of being professional. I thought, I can't wait to get to a break and just message Charlie and go, get that into you. But yeah, he did well. It's
going to be an incredible open round season. You and Cheese will talk about it more, because Brandon Smith will be in for Thursday's show to pump up the whole round ahead. But it is going to be an incredible round. I mean, Thursday you've got a finals rematch of Canberra Raiders against Newcastle Knights in Newcastle. Friday you've got the Warriors against the Sharks. That's another great team too. Two top 8 teams from last year going head to head. Then you've got Storm Panthers as the late Friday night game. Saturday's Eels Dogs. That's another cracking game. And then you've got the Titans Dragons as the late game on Saturday.
Really good game.
And then Dolphins Cowboys at the 4 o'clock Sunday.
We're up there Sunday as well.
We're up there Sunday.
So.
That's going to be a great round of footy.
Yeah, it's exciting for these teams now, for them to take the stage, and obviously here in Australia. And you're right, what opening round games we've got. A sellout in Newcastle versus Canberra on a Thursday night. Congratulations to the Newcastle Knights and the Newcastle community. We were part of those games at the back end of last season, the South Sydney one, the Canberra one, the rematch of last year's final game, and like the whole buzz around the place, sensational. Great to see them, continuing that, because a couple of years ago, if you'd have said, first game in round one of Australia is starting with the Knights at home on a Thursday versus the Canberra Raiders.
Yeah.
Doesn't exactly get you excited, does it?
No.
But it does now, because Newcastle Knights and everything they've done with their community. The Warriors as well, that's, I believe, is on the way to being a sellout. So
that'll be a sellout for sure.
Yeah, for
New
sure.
New Zealand, 100%. Storm Panthers, great game.
It's set up for a great round one. Just quickly, as we're probably just a bit more reviewing on the Vegas games.
Yeah. South
Sydney have got some work to do.
Big time.
They've got some work to do. It surprised me, their level of performance. And I thought they were going to run away with it after they scored those 2 tries, but they've got some serious work to do. I thought their left edge got picked apart defensively, especially on the outside, and then I think they've got a lot of it's and the pressure that's going to come. Like I say, they go up to Brisbane for round 2, and they need to be a lot better than what they were against Manly.
Well, mate, if you look at their defense since that Magic Round win, it's back in last year. It's awful. Like the amount of times they've conceded over 30 points or at least 24, 26 points. Like scrolling through, it's shocking. It's like really, really bad. And it was the same issue they had last year. They could have these incredible moments in attacks, bang, 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 try, pass. You're like, whoa, this team's so good. Like the South City, they can win the comp. And then defensively, they just show no fight. It feels like. Yeah,
well, like you say, they put on tries for fun. They score some absolute world class tries, and then there's times where Murray will find a quick play the ball. Cook will go. Mitchell will do his thing, and play off the back of that. And Cody Walker obviously is outstanding, but they've got some big defensive issues that they need to sort out and quick.
What do you think is their issue defensively? Like, what is that? Because they've conceded in their last. I'll run you through their last few NRL games. 36 points, Manly Seagulls. Last round of last season, 26 points against the Roosters. The week before against the Knights, 29 points. Dragons, 14 points they conceded. The week before that, the Sharks, 26. Broncos, 36. Bulldogs, 36. The Cowboys, 31.
Yeah.
Dragons, 36. Look, Titans, 28.
I think people talk about systems. Defence is mainly attitude to a system, to a style. So you've got to assume they've done a lot of work on that over the off season, but whether or not it was conditioning, I'm not sure. Underdone in round 1, but you could make a strong case for why Manly should have scored more as well. You think of the Jason Saab where Lachlan Ilias got the ankle tap back. Like they've got players that are willing to be desperate. There's a couple of times Latrell came in and along with Damien Cook with some big try saves. So they've got that desperation from a few at times. It's you got to do it for the whole 80 minutes.
And on Manly as well, like Luke Brooks looks like he could be the perfect 5'8" for that team. With the way Luke Brooks doesn't have to worry about moving the team around at all. He can just play off the cuff footy, and you can just see that him and Tom Trbojevic are going to link up so well together. Just hope that Tom Trbojevic stays healthy because he looked almost back to his best in that first game.
He looked very dangerous, and he looked like he wanted the ball, and he was chasing moments, and he was chasing kicks, and that's the sign that you want to see. He wasn't dipping his toe in by any stretch of the imagination, so it was good to see him back out there and looking for action.
And your man Josh Morris is on Sunday. So you got Brandon Smith Thursday, and then you're sitting down with your old teammate Josh Morris.
Josh Morris is, he was over in Vegas as well.
He was a bit wounded as well. He was in the same boat as me. We'd had enough fun, I think, those first few nights. That last night we didn't need it, as my voice goes.
Yeah. That's all right. He was a great chat.
Yeah,
he was really insightful and good to sit down with. So that's something to look forward to. But I don't think there's much else, is there, Charlie?
I think that's it, man. I think you and Cheese can cover the round preview on Thursday. Whatever other news comes out, we should know Spencer Leniu suspension by that point as well. Obviously, Cheese is his teammate, so it'd be great to find out what he thinks about the whole situation.
Reece Walsh has been charged with shoulder charge. He can take the early guilty plea.
And get the fine, which he will. Gets a couple grand, $3,000 fine. It's the old Ryan Madison.
It's the old Ryan Madison. How did the referee not see that was a shoulder charge?
I don't know.
You know, on that, I don't know if you should be able to challenge a shoulder charge not being penalised.
Of course you should be able to, but you probably can. You can challenge any play, can't you?
No. So if a front row is taking a hip off a kick off and someone
you can't goes for the captain's challenge.
No.
Oh well, not in that, 'cause that's not a stoppage in play, is it? Yeah. That's just a tackle. Play the ball. Surely, if he's been bundled in touch, you can go, I'll challenge that.
Yeah. I just thought the ref should and Touchy should have flagged it.
Yeah, they often miss those though, don't they? They often do.
This is probably, again, in defensive Reece Walsh. What's he supposed to do when you got Daniel Tupou going for the corner? Not well. I know what you're supposed to. Not shoulder charge him. There's your answer. Wrap the ball up and make the tackle. But yeah, good luck with that one.
Couple great moments from Reece Walsh as well. Couple great moments, but I think that's probably us done. Jimmy.
All right, all good, Charlie. Well, I'm looking forward to a shower and brushing my teeth.
Yeah. Did you get punched in the face on the last night as well? What's that in your face?
This on my eye here is just a spot. I woke up on the plane before about a couple of hours ago and like, oh, there's a juicy one here, and I've been playing with it, poking around with it, but it does look like I've been.
It looks like you. When I first saw it, I'm like, oh, geez, that last night.
Yeah, like someone's got me with a bit of a right hook.
Yeah, or just your head clash.
Yeah, head
clash on the dance floor.
No.
Did you end up going to Zook and watching Ludacris play?
No.
For the NRL launch?
No, I didn't.
No. Also, I met a bunch of English listeners. Did I already say this on the show? I can't remember. I met a bunch of the English listeners. We had a late night pizza slice at 2 a.m. together, and they were saying how much they love the show and whatnot.
That's good.
They said less Charlie, more Jimmy. But no, it was good. It was good to meet. It was good to meet. I actually bumped into quite a few Byron listeners while we were over there. There was a good contingent of them.
Maybe we should do a live show next year.
At least a meetup. At least some sort of meetup, like have a beer, have some beers with all the different people that are there, and just announce it. Pick a random place. Maybe the saloon bar at MGM. I know it's one of your favourite spots. We'll do some of that. Live show would be good as well. Yeah. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you later on this week.